Major updates to private islands. No cruising until a vaccine is widely available. And being able to buy a cruise with Bitcoin, these predictions and more make up my 10 guesses as to what we'll see in cruising in 2021. There's no guarantee they will come true, but I think they are all very possible. Last year, the cruising world flipped upside down with a global crisis that paused cruising starting in mid-March. But there is finally a light at the end of the tunnel. While the virus continues to rage, vaccines are starting to roll out, and with them, some hope of a return to some sort of normal. So with a potential return to cruising on the horizon, I wanted to take a moment to predict what could happen with cruising starting in 2021. Number 1, cruises don't return until a vaccine is widely available. We're all waiting for the return of sailing. What began in mid-March 2020 as a simple 30-day pause has turned into nearly a year. And more recently, cruise lines continue to push out their potential return dates. As of now, lines like Carnival and Norwegian don't plan to return to sailing from the US until April at the earliest. My prediction? Cruises won't actually return sailing from the US until a vaccine is widely available and distributed. The vaccine rollout so far has been slow and disjointed, but shots are finally getting out to the public. With effectiveness said to be close to 95% of vaccine, it seems to be a game changer when it comes to avoiding the virus. Given that the anticipated schedule of the dose rollout is slated to take several months and cruises aren't planned to return for several months either, I think cruise lines, whether on their own or under pressure from the CDC, will continue their suspension until everyone is able to get a vaccine easily. Number 2, older ships will continue to leave cruise fleets. Cruise lines, they've taken the opportunity during this pause to unload those older and smaller ships. Take Carnival Corporation, for example. It is the parent of Carnival, Princess, and several other lines, and they've said they are disposing of 19 ships. Video of several of their ships being scrapped in Turkey has made the rounds online and garnered millions of views. It's likely that the largest portion of ships have already left fleets, but I expect more liners to be removed in 2021. For example, Royal Caribbean, they've laid up 2 older ships, including Rhapsody of the Seas. This is an older ship that's currently listed as for sale. If you have about $75 million, you can buy it. As cruises do return, lines have said that it will be a phased-in approach over the course of months. I wouldn't be surprised if more of the older ships and fleets simply don't come back at all after the pause. Instead, they might be sold to other lines or scrapped. Number 3, few cheap cruise deals will be available for 2021. Cruise prices, they are heavily dependent on basic economics, supply and demand. That's one reason you see high prices during the summer. During the summer, it's much easier for families with kids to sail, given that the kids are out of school, meaning more demand and higher cruise prices. Throughout this pandemic though, cruise lines have said that demand for trips has remained strong despite the limited advertising and the fact that no trips are sailing. At the same time, they've also said that the return to sailing will be done phased in, with a few ships sailing first and gradually adding back more and more of the fleet. Furthermore, ships will have limited capacity starting back as passenger counts are reduced to allow for more distancing on the ship. That's why I predict there will be few of those dirt cheap cruise deals in 2021. The stage is set for strong demand compared to limited supply. It stands to reason that prices should rise, especially once cruises get back to sailing and signal that people don't have to worry about further suspensions. Number 4, Carnival Mardi Gras will be the biggest hit of the year. Last year was supposed to mark the arrival and sailing of Carnival's newest and largest ship, Mardi Gras. The vessel comes in at a staggering 182,000 tons, which is 35% larger than its next largest ship. Meanwhile, it can carry more than 5,000 passengers on a typical cruise. It even has the world's first roller coaster on a cruise ship. Of course, the ship was delayed due to the fallout of the pandemic. It is now scheduled to debut in April 2021. While it has yet to be seen if that date will be kept, I do predict that the ship will be the biggest hit of the year. It's not just that Mardi Gras is big, the ship is also a completely new direction for what's arguably the most popular cruise line in America. Mardi Gras, it looks completely different than any other ship in Carnival's fleet and includes new restaurants, activities, and more that aren't seen anywhere else. In a year that will be about celebrating the return of cruises, Mardi Gras should stand out as one of the brightest spots. Number 5, tech improvements will be hugely popular among passengers. Cruising has long been about lines. You wait in line at check-in, you wait in line to board, you wait in line for muster, and you wait in line to eat. You wait in line even to get off the ship. Thanks to COVID and tech improvements, cruising in 2021 will be drastically improved. Maybe not every line will go away, but many will, and that is a good thing. For instance, Royal Caribbean, they've rolled out a new muster drill setup that can be done via your phone or the stateroom TV instead of having to bunch together with tons of other people on the deck of the ship. An online check-in, which had already been in place for many lines, will be accelerated. Instead of waiting to meet with an agent, you'll simply check in online ahead of time and have your room keys waiting for you at your cabin door. While the crisis has been terrible for cruising, this is one positive that will come out of it all. Number 6, COVID cases will be found on a ship and cause the trip to end with massive headlines. For all the steps being taken to prevent an outbreak on a cruise, even cruise line executives have admitted that there will likely be cases of the virus on board. So much of what cruise lines and the CDC have worked on is what will happen when cases are found. The CDC stated in their framework that if a, quote, threshold of COVID-19 is found, then the cruise will be ended and returned to port. My prediction is even if vaccines are required before sailing, there will be an instance of a US-based ship having a virus case on the cruise. When that happens, expect to see major headlines from all the major media outlets. Apart from cases involving high-profile celebrities or politicians, these cases may end up being the most talked about COVID cases in the entire country. Number 7, you'll be able to buy a cruise in Bitcoin. For many, cryptocurrency Bitcoin is a complete novelty, but it is gaining more mainstream attention as the price has quadrupled in the past year. While I don't think most people are quite ready to swap out their life savings for Bitcoin, I do predict that at least one cruise line will make a bold move and accept the digital currency as payment for a trip. Doing so would garner instant attention and tons of media exposure. For that reason, I'd guess Virgin Voyages would be the cruise line to break the mold and accept crypto for payment. While the cruise line has yet to sail, it was supposed to begin in early 2020, but COVID. It has made big changes to cruising, with moves like having all food included along with Wi-Fi and tips, as well as being adults only. The cruise line is also marketing to appeal to younger cruise passengers. I think accepting Bitcoin as payment would be a strong marketing pitch that would help illustrate just how different Virgin Voyages is compared to others and make it stand out as the line finally begins sailing in 2021. Number 8, a major private island overhaul will be announced. When it comes to private islands, the bar is set with Royal Caribbean's Coco Cay. While other cruise line islands have great beaches and maybe even pools, cabanas, or zip lines, Coco Cay simply takes things to another level. The cruise line spent hundreds of millions of dollars to transform it into a destination with a water park, multiple beaches, eateries, and even over-the-water bungalows. I predict that in 2021 there will be another cruise line that announces updates to one of their own private islands that will put it on par with Coco Cay. For years, cruise lines, they've competed with the larger ships, but the cost of a new ship can be $1 billion or more and take years to plan and build. Already cruise lines, they've pushed back the anticipated dates for new vessels. While the cost of renovating an entire island is not cheap, it is sharply lower than the cost of a new ship and offers something exciting for passengers to look forward to when visiting. Furthermore, cruise line islands offer better control over the environment in regards to health and safety. That's a major consideration in the post-COVID world. Number 9, longer cruises will be allowed again. The framework for sailing laid out by the CDC puts in place a number of new rules, including that trips of more than a week are no longer allowed. So those longer journeys simply won't be around for most of 2021. I predict, however, that following the November 2021 expiration of the CDC framework, those cruises will be back on the table. By then, there should be plenty of time for a complete vaccine rollout, and cruises will have had lots of practice in keeping the virus at bay. That should give the CDC the confidence to allow longer journeys to return to sailing. Number 10, the end of 2021 will look completely different than the end of 2020. The end of 2020 marked cruises still being suspended, virus cases at an all-time high, and lots of uncertainty in the travel industry as a whole. I predict that the end of 2021 will be the exact opposite. After a slow start, I think cruises will ramp back up into the second half of the year. By the end of 2021, the vaccine should be widely available to anyone who wants it, and virus cases sharply lower. While many of the safeguards put in place will still be around on cruises, trips will once again feel close to normal. It won't be a return without some hurdles and hiccups, but moving from 2021 into 2022 will be drastically different than what we have right now. Expect restrictions to be largely lifted and the public eager to cruise, and lots of optimism toward the future of sailing. Bonus prediction for 2022, cruises to Cuba will return. You didn't think I was done, did you? I have one more prediction, but it's for 2022. During the Obama administration, there was a thawing of the Cold War tensions between the United States and Cuba. One of the benefits was that cruises were allowed to sail to the island, something that was unimaginable just years earlier. Cruises to Cuba, however, were short-lived. Under the Donald Trump administration, trips were halted practically overnight as new rules were put into place. The shift caused a major hit to the cruise industry as they scrambled to rework itineraries and had to stop selling the lucrative vacations. With the Biden administration, I predict it will take some time, but in 2022, we will see a reset on relations with Cuba that will lead to the return of sailings to the country once again, opening up the area to American tourists eager to visit the island. Now it's your turn. Do you have a prediction for cruising in 2021? Let everyone know in the comments below. As well, be sure, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until next time, happy cruising.